It turns out that Nvidia might not have been making proprietary technology after all. Xbox and Microsoft are making their own gosh dang metaverse, and it's the flight of the PS5s. Let's get into the hot news, everybody, here on November 3rd. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news that I can find on this very here internet while you enjoy your early meal of the day, late meal of the day, okay? We call it breakfast regardless of what time you're having it. It's just a thing, okay? Just deal with it, just like you have to deal with the upcoming PCI Express 5.0 GPU connectors. This is something that we talked about in a previous episode of Hot News when Asus unveiled their new ROG Thor power supplies and how it had what they were calling a PCI Express 5.0 GPU power connector, which looks remarkably similar to the one that Nvidia released with their RTX 30 series cards, the 12-pin one that you had to jab in the freaking middle of the board because of how they did the cool. Anyways, not getting spicy about that aside, it turns out, according to new reports that are out there, that this might be the official power connector for PCI Express 5.0 devices moving forward, according to the new PCIe SIG body that makes these standards, and that the power connector is capable of pulling up to 600 watts on a single connector, so you won't need multiple, even though it's one 12-pin out, but it goes to multiple on the power supply. It'll be a whole thing, but it does look like higher consumption GPUs might be on the way. PCI Express 5.0 might take us to that direction, but more importantly, even though it looks like Nvidia was ahead of the curve, they weren't trying to isolate us into their own power delivery system, but rather it was just something that's going to be coming out down the pipeline, which is really intriguing. If they knew that this was going to happen, why didn't they necessarily say something like that? Or maybe they were hoping that it wouldn't become standard and that it could have been proprietary. I don't think that there's much financial motivation for them to do it, but regardless, Nvidia not necessarily bamboozling us, but there might be some bamboozles in the air. All right, if you're ready for new GPUs to launch this coming end of year, Nvidia might have it for you, because we talked about in a previous episode this week that Nvidia might be cutting down production on the RTX 30 series for whatever reason. Some suspect that it might be financially motivated, others suspect that it might be due to supply chain issues, but we have new indication that they might be relaunching certain cards that are already out there, and this won't be a Super Series refresh, rather a 3070 Ti with 16 gigs, a 3080 with 12 gigs of VRAM, and then an RTX 2060 with 12 gigabytes of VRAM. This is a very weird launch. I'm not sure I necessarily trust this rumor because it's absurd. The dates that the rumor is indicating is that Nvidia is going to announce the 2060 on December 7th and the 3070 Ti and 3080 on December 17th, with either immediate availability like with the 2060 or availability next year. The 3070 and 3080 Ti just launched not even 6 months ago with 8 gigabytes and 12 gigabytes of VRAM respectively. The 3080 has 10, and putting it up to 12 puts it so close to a 3080 Ti that I don't quite grasp why they would do that and why they wouldn't have done this at launch, unless it had to do with just like not having enough VRAM availability to put this into the GPUs, or possibly, conspiracy theory, this means something's coming down the pipeline from AMD, because that's the only reason I could see Nvidia making a mid-season refresh that's not a Super Series of adding VRAM, because there's some financial or like consumer pressure that's going to be coming for them to be able to do this. Or it might be that they have more VRAM than they have GPU cores, so instead of trying to make more GPUs or having a diversified product stack, they're just gonna isolate down to these 3 cards. You want a GPU? You can get the 2060, you can get the 3070 Ti or your 3080. Are you broke? Well, you get nothing. You get no GPU, no video games for you. Should have thought about being broke before you wanted to play on Nvidia, you peasant. Am I the only one getting that vibe? I don't know. You let me know down in the comments, and I'll let you know what the crypto market's doing. It's time for Cryptostonks. Bitcoin having a good day, up 4% to be at 63,463. Ethereum also having a mighty fine day, nearly up 4% as well to be at $4,500, nearly at its all-time high of $45.22. It's just $14 off of that as of the time recording. Dogecoin up ever so minusculely to 27.5 cents right there. GameStop continuing its surge upward today, being at 3% over where it opened at 206.38, over $200 again. Mighty fine numbers right there. AMC also up 4% on the day to be at 38.55 as of the time of recording. I'm recording Hot News a little earlier, so it's before market close, but hopefully it's somewhere around this so that my information stays accurate. career. But let's talk a little bit more about cryptocurrency and how some people got scammed out of a Squid Game cryptocurrency because there was a rug pull that happened from the founders who made a Squid Game cryptocurrency, and then they just cashed out completely in cash and stole about $3.38 million of people who put their money into the cryptocurrency. I don't know a whole lot about the backstory on this, but from what I've seen, it should have been pretty clear that this was a scam from the very beginning and that some people got duped into it, just probably due to the hype of the Netflix TV show. Speaking of hype, Tesla's been hitting some hype with its stock numbers, being over $1,100 per share recently, thanks to an order that was placed by Hertz that they're gonna order 100,000 Teslas to have as the largest EV fleet in the world. Well, Elon Musk tweeted out today saying, hey, it's nice that there's stock excitement, but the Hertz hasn't signed a contract, which has kind of flattened the stock's progress so far. But as being reported, Hertz never said that they signed a contract. Elon Musk coming out and saying Tesla has far more demand than production, therefore we will only sell our cars to Hertz for the same margin as to customers. Hertz deal has zero effects on our economics, which I guess is good to hear for the regular people. But you know what's going to have a big effect on the economics of Facebook? It's the fact that they're shutting down their facial recognition program, at least according to themselves, indicating that they are no longer going to automatically recognize people's faces in photos or videos, and that there's been many concerns about the place of facial recognition technology in our society, and regulators are still in the process of providing clear set of rules governing its use. Amid the ongoing uncertainty, we believe that limiting the use of facial recognition to a narrow set of use cases is appropriate, which a lot of people might say, well, then don't tag yourself and stuff, or don't give Facebook that permission. But that wasn't the issue with Facebook's facial tracking stuff. If you post a picture of yourself with a friend who's not on Facebook, Facebook facially recognizes them and builds a profile of people who aren't even on Facebook, which is obviously nonsense. The only reason I see that Facebook is doing this based on their tone and the way that they've positioned themselves previously is either, number one, there is some heavy-handed legislation that's coming that could potentially ruin them financially in terms of fines and financial consequences that could severely hurt them. Number two, they are sincerely or fakely trying to earn back the public's trust as they launch into this meta branding that they're doing, which I don't know if that's necessarily going to work because they are rolling back a few things that people haven't like the facial recognition thing, like the fact that you needed a Facebook login to log into Oculus Quest. They're rolling that back. Are they becoming a better company, or is this just a way to sucker people into the metaverse so that you can get zuckered into the future that Mark has for you? Huh? You let me know. But while Facebook might be building a metaverse, Microsoft is building its own, okay? Microsoft Mesh coming out for a whole bunch of different products. Microsoft previously releasing this video showing how you can use their augmented reality and mixed reality stuff to create teams and metaverses all over, but Satya Nadella in an interview today saying that he's absolutely bringing this to video games too, okay? You want to have a Minecraft metaverse? You can have it. You want to have a flight simulator metaverse? You can have that too. Halo metaverse, where you can play around the world in augmented virtual reality with a whole bunch of other Halo bros? You can have that too. No ETA, just a bunch of lofty promises from a CEO who's not connected to the real people. My friends, I don't typically like to prescribe things on this show. I try to keep my opinions, if you call them that, like lighthearted and whimsical, but this kind of stuff sincerely and 100% scares me. I understand completely the appeal to want to get lost into the world of AR and VR, but I also fear for what it can mean for social and human connectedness. I also fear for what this can mean for companies' control over our lives and the amount of data that they would then have, that we're already giving them so much, and then to give them our entire being and our entire existence and build our society within their stuff. Like, we've already done that to some extent with social media. If we do that to the next level in VR, I'm concerned. That's my opinion right now. I am very concerned for what future is looking like right now with this technology, mostly because I don't trust the companies who are doing it and the people leading those companies to have the discernment to know when it's good to push forward in an idea and when it's good to scale back. I just have zero confidence in that. But now you can have confidence in Microsoft SwiftKey. Opinion transition time. All right, SwiftKey can now allow you to copy and paste clipboards across Android and Windows. This is probably part of the Windows 11 Android merger that's happening. happening. They're making it so that it's an easier ecosystem for you to use. And Apple's ecosystem is getting cannibalized by itself, because you can cannibalize. It has to be the same species, right? But there's no other species of company that's Apple. So if Apple's eating an apple, yeah, it has to be they're cannibalizing themselves, I think, in the terms of a company. I'm sorry, I had to go on that long diatribe to tell you that iPad production is being cut short for the sake of selling enough iPhones because of the chip shortages that are going on. Apple can't get enough supply, so they're going to be cutting back, according to this report from Nikkei Asia, saying that the iPad production is going to go down by 50% so that they can continue to produce iPhone 13s, as well as older iPhone models will also not be ramped up in order to make sure that they can meet the demand of this coming holiday season. And Netflix trying to meet the demand of gamers everywhere by launching their Netflix gaming setup only on Android at the current moment, not on iOS, supposed to be coming at some point soon. You log into your Netflix app, you can play Android games, and there's a few ones that you can try. Have you tried it? Let me know if you like the Netflix games down below in the comments. And do you like PlayStation 5 games? Have you been able to play them? Well, you might be able to get your hands a little bit easier on a PlayStation 5 this coming holiday season, because just like last year, there are now reports coming out that Sony is air freighting all of the PS5s to the Western Hemisphere to get the countries their PS5s. According to a report, the UK is now getting 3 747 cargo planes filled to the brim with PS5, 50 whole pallets, all right? Trying to get it out there as soon as possible. Sea freight's just gonna take too long, it's too slow, and Sony would rather pay the money to make sure that everybody can have one under their tree this Christmas rather than trying to wait around to get another one. Or you could just be like me, you go down to a local GameStop when you know there's a drop happening and you try to trade somebody a $2,000 gaming PC for their PS5, to which they say no, and you're just like, frick man, what do I have to give you? And it turns out you have to give them the whole gosh dang thing. It's not just a GPU, it's not just a computer, you gotta give them a monitor, a keyboard, a mouse, the whole flicking thing, and then they'll give you their second PS5, not even the first one. Go watch that video if you have no idea what I'm ranting about. And I'm gonna go rant in a corner somewhere, because this episode of Hot News is over. I will see you tomorrow for breakfast, my friends, when we have more tech news to digest together. Cheers.